the last bread she baked. Her husband left because she only gave him daughters. But what she did next with a simple loaf of bread will break your heart and restore your faith in a mother's love. Watch as we dive into the full story. In a quiet village called Umuokoro, surrounded by orange trees and sunlit hills, lived a young woman named Amarachi whose name meant grace. And truly, grace followed her. But grief followed her too. Amarachi was radiant and young, full of life, and deeply in love with Obinna, a tall, strong, and charming man from the next village. Their love was like something out of a storybook, the kind that made elders nod approvingly and children giggle. They married in the dry season. In the first year, she gave birth to a daughter Chisom. The second year brought Ediora, and the third year, Ngozi. 3 daughters. 3 beautiful lights in her life. But for Obinna, the light began to dim. "Where is my son?" he would grumble. "Who will carry my name? Who will sit in the front row at my burial?" Amarachi," she would plead, "they are gifts, Obinna. Girls or boys, they are ours." But her words could not hold him. One fateful morning, without a word, Obinna packed his things and left. Left Amarachi with 3 small children, an empty yam barn, and a heart full of dust. The village talked, as it always does. Only girls. Maybe she angered the gods. Men don't stay where there is no air. But Amarachi did not answer them. She tied her wrapper tighter and began to bake bread with her mother's recipe. She would wake up at 3 a.m. every morning. Mixed flour, salt, and memories. She would knead dough while her daughter slept. Bake them in a wood oven she built from old mud bricks. Each loaf carried her pain, her strength, and her love. She sold the bread at the local market, and with every loaf sold, she paid for children's school fees. But the world is rarely kind to women who fight too hard. One evening it rained heavily, a flood came. It washed away her oven, soaked her bags of flour, and turned her bread stall into firewood. Still, Amarachi did not cry. She simply sat with her girls, cooked leftover yam, and prayed. The next morning, she did something she had never done before. She borrowed flour from a kind neighbor, promising to pay for it in a week. With trembling hands, she baked 3 loaves. 1 for each daughter, and one last one for the market. "In this," she said, "is the last bread I will ever bake with borrowed hands." Years passed. The girls grew. Chisom wanted to be a nurse. Ediora, a teacher. Ngozi, the youngest, wanted to be a chef just like her mother. Amarachi couldn't afford university for her daughters. She sorted helps from churches, visited aid workers, begged at NGOs, but none could help her. She sold groundnuts, repaired old clothes, and baked more bread just to provide food for her children. One day, the girls came home to find the house full of smoke. The oven had caught fire. Their mother, trying to save the bread, had inhaled too much smoke. She collapsed that night. Lying on a mat, barely breathing, she held her daughters close. "I have nothing else to give you," she whispered. "Only this bread. And this name. Do not let them go to waste." She slipped into unconsciousness and never woke up again. The funeral was quiet. No Obinna. No apology. Just the villagers, murmuring about how she tried. But her daughters remembered. They kept the last 3 loaves she baked rock hard, sun-dried, but sacred. Years passed. Chisom cleaned houses to afford nursing school. She graduated, and now treats pregnant women in the same community that mocked her mother. Ediora taught children under trees until a white missionary saw her and helped her open a real school. She named it Amarachi Academy. Ngozi, the youngest, moved to the city, became a baker, and opened a bakery called Mama's Crust, Bread of Love. On the wall of the shop hangs a framed photo of their mother, next to a sign that reads, "The last bread she baked fed the future." One rainy day, an old man entered the bakery, gray-bearded, limping, hungry. He looked around. His eyes stopped on Amarachi's picture. His lips trembled. "I knew her once," he said, voice cracking. "She was my wife." Ngozi's hands froze. "You're Obinna," he nodded slowly. "I left your mother because she couldn't bear me a son, and I'll gain nothing." Ngozi looked him in the eyes and felt sorry for him. "Are you hungry?" Ngozi asked. "We have enough bread. Sit." She served him a slice of bread, soft, warm, made with honey and tears. He wept into it. For the first time, he tasted not just bread, but the memory of a woman he never deserved. If Amarachi's story moved your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to Echoes of Hope. Share this story with someone who needs to be reminded of a mother's power and how love, even when abandoned, never fails. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.